Coming up on tonight's broadcast, restructuring the College of Liberal Arts, a glitch on the new iPhone 4S, and a call to free Tibet from Chinese rule. All that and more right here on the Beaver News.
Good evening and welcome to your Monday night edition of the Beaver News. We're glad to have you with us. I'm Hayden Wilcox.
And I'm Spencer Smallwood. Are you a student parent and are in need of childcare facilities? Worry not, because OSU is here to help with not one, but 3 campus childcare facilities. As reported by the Daily Barometer, these facilities are essential for students with children on campus who need to have someone to take care of their children while they are studying, particularly in the evenings. The primary facility, which is known as our Little Village, is located on the 3rd floor of the Valley Library and is created by the associated students at OSU. It is paid for by student fees, which is great for student parents, says Christy King, a staff member of Family Resources. She said, quote, "They had to pay for childcare during the day, which was very expensive, and then had no additional money for a babysitter," end quote. The center cares children ages 6 months to 10 years, and parents may drop their children off for up to 3 hours a day. Our Little Village is also open in the evenings and the weekends.
Campus Movie Fest, the week-long 5-minute movie contest, came to a close this Friday with a grand red carpet event at LaSalle Stewart Center. The Campus Movie Festival competition challenges teams of 5 students or less to make a 5-minute movie in a single week. Once done, the team then enters their movie into a panel of judges who will then determine the winner of several categories, which include Best Overall Picture, Best Drama, Best Comedy, and a Wildcard Award. The team whose movie is voted the best overall will win the grand prize, a trip to Los Angeles to meet professional movie producers. As reported by the Daily Barometer's Camille Jacobson Ingram, last year's overall Best Picture Award was given to the movie Hatch, directed by OSU student Evan Goot. Goot followed that win with another on Friday night for a short reset. He had this to say about his experience, quote, "When we won, it was a really amazing feeling that all of the tireless efforts of my team had paid off. June of last summer, everyone who was part of the cast and crew piled into a sedan and took a road trip all the way down to LA for the finale. It was incredible to go from creating a small, fun student film to visiting LA and being face-to-face with well-known professionals right on the back lots where movies are shot."
The College of Liberal Arts will soon be completely restructured to provide new, exciting degree opportunities, as reported by the Daily Barometer. The CLA, which currently encompasses 13 different departments, will reorganize into 6 schools. For example, the School of Public Policy will contain sociology, economics, and political science. In a similar manner, the School of Arts and Communication, the School of Language, Culture, and Society, the School of History, Philosophy, and Religion, the School of Psychological Science, and the School of Writing, the Literature, and Film will be created. This is done to better associate similar disciplines and form a more comprehensive whole. Marion Rossi, a theater arts professor, said, quote, "The various schools are aligned and connected by fundamental goals and related disciplinary content." End quote. Students need not to worry, however, and this transition will not affect their degrees in any negative manner.
When Marty Ulrich, a computer science student here at OSU, first created his app for the iPhone, he had no idea how big of a deal it would be. The app, a simple yet realistic lit candle, exploded in popularity this month after the death of Apple co-founder Steve Jobs. The app, originally intended for everyday uses such as mood lighting for a romantic date or a candle for a birthday party, has been transformed into a remembrance piece in honor of Steve Jobs. As reported by the university, more than 800,000 of these apps have been downloaded since the death of Jobs. Ulrich was shocked to learn of the popularity of his creation. Quote, "I was really surprised when I saw this on all of the newscasts, everyone holding the candles when they honored Steve Jobs. When we developed this app, it was intended to create an ambiance, a mood. We had not realized how important it might be for other uses." End quote. As of now, the app is available to download for free. The app itself includes 10 different options and a mood lighting setting.
Oregon University Cascades, a subsidiary of the main campus, has taken huge strides in the past week. As reported by the Daily Barometer, the Cascades has been looking to finalize the purchase of a building which will be used to facilitate many of its graduate and research programs. The building will cost $3.8 million. The Oregon State Legislature approved $2 million in lottery bonds last July, and Cascades recently received a generous donation of $800,000 by Alan Bruckner, a Bend, Oregon business leader. The rest of the funds will be provided by Cascades. Becky Johnson, vice president for OSU Cascades, is pleased with the progress, stating, quote, "This new building will allow us to move our graduate programs as early as spring term and will accelerate the evolution of OSU Cascades into a comprehensive university," end quote. Cascades has led 10% of enrollment increase since last year and now contains approximately 750 junior, senior, and graduate students.
If you have a car on campus, then you might want to listen up. Over the past month, there have been 18 accounts of cars being keyed by vandals. As of now, there is no pattern to the trend, and both student and staff cars alike are being targeted. However, as reported by the Daily Barometer's Dominique Loberg, police have arrested 19-year-old OSU student Jennifer Zhang after witnesses saw her key 2 different cars in a nearby parking lot. Zhang was arrested on charges of first and third-degree criminal mischief. However, since the arrest, there has been no change in the amount of vandalism. Oregon State University campus security and the Corvallis Police Department urge students and staff alike to report any suspicious behavior of individuals in parking lots. As of now, police are unsure as to whether or not this is an organized group of individuals or a single individual. And besides from one intentionally personal attack, there seems to be no pattern in these incidents.
Man, people these days. An accident occurred last Thursday at the McAlexander Fieldhouse, where a man plunged 30 feet into a climbing wall, and as reported by the Daily Barometer. The man, who has recently been identified as Mike Leonard, is an employee of New Jersey-based Over the Edge Productions. In attempts to get a shot of OSU's ROTC program for MTVU, Mr. Leonard climbed up the wall and fell on the inside of the building wall. Bill Callender, Assistant Director of Recreational Sports, stated that the incident is still being currently investigated. In order to extract Mr. Leonard, a hole had to be cut into the base of the climbing wall. Mr. Leonard was transported to Good Samaritan Regional Medical Center and is currently undergoing medical treatment and is expected to make a full recovery. Well, folks, we're going to take a quick break, but when we will be back with your national stories, so stay tuned.
Pants. I am folding the pants. The pants are long. Do they go on my head? Do they? Do the pants go on my head? No. They go on.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
So you can't save money? It's easy as pie. Brown bag your lunch instead of going out. $6 save times 5 days a week times 10 years is $21,000. That's a lot of lettuce. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feedthepig.org.
Hair loss. Now this rash on my face, what's going on?
For answers, ask your doctor the right question.
Could I have lupus?
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital. I feel like a fish with no water.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. Because even one attack is one too many.
Welcome back to the Beaver News live here on Channel 26. It was a loss to all in the television industry as one of 60 Minutes' original and most recognizable characters passed over this weekend. On Friday night, writer and commentator Andy Rooney passed away due to complications after a minor surgery. He was 92. As reported by CNN, Rooney got his first job as a writer when he was drafted into the military during World War II. It was there that he reported for the Stars and Stripes newspaper from just behind the front lines. After the war, he spent many years working for several different writing companies and television stations. Soon, Rooney found his way into 60 Minutes, where he joined the team in 1978. His commentaries on mundane topics and his signature curmudgeon status earned him the title of King of Grouch by his peers. During his career, he earned 6 Writers Guild of America awards, 1 Peabody, and 4 Emmys. Jeff Fager, chairman of CBS News and the executive producer for 60 Minutes, said, quote, "It's a sad day at 60 Minutes and for everyone here at CBS News. It's hard to imagine not having Andy around. He loved his life and he lived it on his own terms. We will miss him very much."
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg visited Harvard University earlier today, making it the first time he's been there since 2004, reports CNN. Zuckerberg, who dropped out of Harvard to pursue his online social network giant, Facebook, presented a 30-minute talk after which he met with potential interns. Harvard spokeswoman Tanya DeLuziga says Harvard is happy to welcome him, quote, "The excitement on campus is palpable and is a big waiting list for students who want to go to this event and can't get in. It's the talk of the campus today," end quote. Zuckerberg was reportedly looking for new computer science and engineering students to join the company, which already has more than 2,000 employees. He is also reportedly recruiting from other universities such as Carnegie Mellon and MIT. Michael Wong, a senior at Harvard, said, quote, if you've seen the movie Social Network, you know that Zuckerberg attended a talk by Bill Gates. It was a pivotal moment. This could be another iteration of that. The next Mark Zuckerberg could be here in the audience.
On Saturday at 3:12 a.m., a 4.7 magnitude earthquake struck just outside the town of Sparks, Oklahoma. Nearly 24 hours later, an earthquake with a magnitude of 5.7 struck in the same location. These quakes have been the largest to hit that particular area since 1952, but that isn't the most shocking thing. During the following 24-hour period after the second earthquake, geologists recorded more than 30 aftershocks. 10 of those aftershocks managed to reach a 3.0 on the Richter scale. As reported by CNN, these tremors from the initial quake could be felt in the neighboring states of Kansas, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Texas. Because of the aftershocks, many buildings have suffered extensive damage.
Frustration arises as Apple's new voice assistant application, Siri, took an unannounced break from the world. As reported by CNN, the app experienced an outage last Thursday, and thus far, Apple has yet to respond to the cause. Speculation points to a server outage causing the app to be unable to respond. Following restoration of service, the app will still would not appropriately respond, but has now been fixed. Apple's cloud service is what allows Siri to understand the process voice commands. If that service is inaccessible, as it was in this situation, Siri is not able to recognize any commands. This is on top of Apple being under fire for the iPhone 4S and the new operating system draining battery much more than it was stated. The issue will be reported in a patch update that Apple has stated will arrive in the incoming weeks. The strong reaction to Siri's outage seems unwarranted, but Sarah Perez, a writer for TechCrunch, states, quote, "Granted, Siri is still a beta product, and this is what happens to beta products, but when Apple promotes a Siri as one of the best new features of its latest device, it's worth noticing that when the service doesn't quite deliver as promised."
The long debate over what it means to be a living person with rights is being decided this week in Mississippi. Mississippi Governor Barber has lent his support to a state constitutional amendment that would define human life, the point at which we are granted humanitarian rights, as the moment of conception. This amendment, if approved, would mean that abortions and morning after pills would be under the same qualification as homicide. As reported by CNN, supporters of the amendment include far-right conservative groups, major religious groups, and pro-life groups who urge mothers to put their baby up for adoption if they can't support the child, rather than aborting it. A major concern brought up from the amendment is that the law would make no exception in the case of rape or incest and would force the mother to carry the unwanted child. Terry Herring, National Director for the Pro-Life Movement, said this about the amendment, quote, "If a woman was attacked and her unborn child was killed, it would be a fetal homicide. That is considered a person. But on the very same day in the same area, a woman could go and have an abortion and kill her child and nothing would happen. So we have a contradiction, and that is what we're trying to fix here," end quote. With this, the support for the amendment has been coming in from many demographics, and polls suggest that the measure will pass. Now, the major concern is what effect this will have on women's rights.
In a seemingly endless slew of ins and outs, Lindsay Lohan has yet again been released from jail, just hours after she was admitted in. As reported by CNN, Lohan was released earlier this morning after she checked herself into the Century Regional Detention Facility in California at 8:48 p.m. last night. Her latest visit to jail was after Lohan admitted to violating her probation from a necklace theft conviction. On top of the required 18 psychotherapy sessions, she must now also work at least 2 days a month at the county morgue until she completes the last 53 days of her court-ordered community service. Steve Honig, Lohan's spokesman, said, quote, "Lindsay is very focused on fulfilling her community service obligations so she can put all this behind her," end quote. Lindsay's initial arrest for 4 years ago on account of drunk driving and has yet continuously violated probation.
The now global Occupy movement may be finally showing its face, or should I say, mask. Recently, hundreds of thousands of the members of the Occupy protests have been wearing a Guy Fawkes-inspired mask from V for Vendetta. As reported by CNN, Guy Fawkes, the man who inspired the mask, was a revolutionary in the early 1600s who tried and failed to destroy Parliament with gunpowder. Though he failed, British citizens have been celebrating Guy Fawkes Day on November 5th for hundreds of years. Jump to the early 90s, and the image and the meaning behind Fawkes' original plan helps inspire the comic book series V for Vendetta. In this comic, a post-apocalyptic anarchist revolutionary, simply known as V, works to bring down the totalitarian government that controls the country. The mask itself, with its diabolical smile, black mustache, and thin goatee, is, however, a trademarked image and owned by Time Warner. In a massive display of irony, protesters are buying and wearing a mask that puts money into the pockets of the businesses that they are protesting. But protesters are focusing more on the meaning behind the mask, saying it's, quote, "an international symbol for rebellion and anonymity," end quote. Several years ago, the hacker activist group calling itself Anonymous first started using this image as a symbol during its protests and attacks, and now it has spread to the Occupy movement. Many say that they support the message behind the mask because of the character that is an anti-establishment hero and a man of action. It's now time for our final break of the evening, but we'll have your international stories right here. You won't want to miss it.
Horseradish. Is that for horses? Remember me, Mr. Lobster? From last Tuesday? Banana. 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 Here comes the rain. We need a hat. And why do we need a hat? They dry. That's right.
When you talk with your child, you build vocabulary, and learning starts long before school does. For more tips, go to bornlearning.org.
Welcome back to the Beaver News right here on KBVR. A new comprehensive study of an old enemy by entomologists here at OSU is shedding more light on an ancient yet deadly disease. Malaria, long known to be carried by mosquitoes, continues to be a deadly epidemic around the world, especially in African countries where the disease thrives. Each year there are an estimated 300 to 500 million cases of malaria, and it is the cause of death for nearly 1 million people in Africa. As reported by Oregon State University, entomologists have uncovered a mosquito specimen preserved in amber containing a malaria pathogen that is more than 100 million years old. From this, scientists have gathered that the disease has been around since before the evolution of humans, jumping from birds to monkeys in its early state. To put things in perspective, the first strain of malaria that caused human illness was found by this study to have been established in the Americas nearly 15 million years ago. Modern humans have only existed for 200,000 years. As humans evolved, the disease evolved along with them. Professor of Zoology George Poyner explains, quote, "Malaria is one of the greatest insect-borne killers in human history, and more than 1 million people a year are still dying from it. But the evolutionary record suggests that it can easily change its protein coat in response to vertebrate immune reactions. That's why it's always becoming is resistant to drugs, and efforts to create vaccines will be very difficult."
As reported by CNN, Carlos the Jackal is to stand trial for his actions nearly 17 years ago. Elik Ramirez Sanchez, now 62, is a Venezuelan-born self-proclaimed revolutionary who allegedly caused the fatal bombings at a train station and newspaper offices in France in the 1980s. The nickname Carlos the Jackal is a reference to an assassin in Frederick Forsyth's novel, The Day of the Jackal. Sanchez was caught in 1994 after already committing numerous attacks, including the deaths of 2 French secret agents and an informant in 1975, making him one of the world's most wanted fugitives. He has been serving a life sentence in France since 1997 and will stand trial once more to reevaluate his sentence. Though Francis Spitzner, a lawyer in this case, is not hoping, stating, quote, "I am concerned that 17 years later, we can see that he hasn't learned or forgotten a thing. He has not changed a bit, so I expect a difficult trial, and the victims will simply have to listen to him with patience and perseverance."
A fiery car crash in Britain on Friday led to a massive pileup that involved more than 34 vehicles. The incident, which can only be described as horrific, left several cars so badly burnt that they were unrecognizable, and some even burnt to the ground. Casualties were very high, with 7 confirmed dead and 51 people injured. As reported by CNN, the crash occurred around 8:25 p.m. Friday night on a highway 45 miles southwest of Bristol. Officials speculate that the crash was due to poor weather conditions that included heavy rain and fog. Immediately after the incident, 15 fire trucks arrived on the scene, and emergency crews battled fires and fought to release trapped individuals from their cars. Officers praised the brave volunteers who helped bring the wounded out to safety. As of now, the major highway is still closed to both directions of traffic.
Wow, 34 cars. Jeez. Continuing on, thousands of people are being affected in Nepal as unusually bad weather leaves them stranded. As reported by CNN, numerous cities in Nepal have citizens and tourists attempting to evacuate. Lukla, a town near Mount Everest, has more than 2,200 tourists running low on supplies. This town is popular for a starting point in trekking to the mountain. Previously unable to allow flights in or out of the town, more than 48 aerial evacuations occurred today, transporting approximately 500 trekkers to the capital of Kathmandu. Hari Basil, a spokesman for the Nepal Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation, said that they hope to transport at least 1,500 tourists to the capital by the end of the day. Some citizens also took the option to take the 4-day walk to the town of Jiri, where bus transportation is able to take them to Kathmandu. Rescue operations are expected to increase as weather continues to clear.
In protest of Chinese rule over Tibet, a Buddhist nun committed suicide by setting herself on fire earlier this week. This has been the 11th incident of its kind in recent history. As reported by CNN, the International Campaign for Tibet claimed that the nun called for freedom and the return from exile of the Dalai Lama as she was burning. The Dalai Lama, spiritual leader of this sect of Buddhism, has been in exile from his native land of Tibet since 1959, the exile, of course, enforced by Communist China. Out of the 11 attempted suicides conducted in this manner by Buddhist nuns and priests, 6 have resulted in death. The Chinese government believes that these self-immolations have been instigated by exiled Tibetans in order to bring attention to the occupation. However, the Tibetan government has made a statement the other day that explained that the people of Tibet can no longer deal with the continued oppression from the Chinese authorities, and that they feel that the only thing they can do is protest by suicide. Tibetan activist and writer Tsering Woser explained, quote, "If there is no improvement, Tibetans will feel it's better to die than be alive. They commit suicide to protest. The international community should impose pressure and condemn the Chinese government. But so far, the pressure is not enough. The international community only appeals to Chinese government, but there are no real actions such as economic boycott." Well, that's all the news we have for you tonight, but be sure to tune in tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock for more of your local, national, and international stories right here on KBVR.